Hey guys, it's your girl Raven, also known as the Watered Rose. And y'all know how this go. I got something to say, okay? So today I'm gonna be a little more calmer because my last word I was off the hook, okay? I was off the charts. I was going in, okay? But today, hope y'all can hear me clearly. Uh yeah. Probably gonna be a short word. It's the 30th um, of October. And the title of today's word is God sees the work of your hands. Okay? God sees the work of your hands. So how this revelation came about was I was just up this morning and I couldn't really truly like sleep. So I was hungry, but I didn't want to really make no breakfast or nothing. So I ate some popcorn. So I was just sitting there, and my other phone was playing because I put on the Dappy T Keys prophetic worship music so that I can be able to, calm my spirit and stuff like that and help my daughter stay asleep and everything like that. And on the screen, um it was Matthew 6:6, and then God said that's the reason why you always see 606. So I know it's another reason why I see 606 also, but after seeing this number for months and months and months and practically a year, I'm just like, dang, God, you just going to just now give me a revelation, and it's been Matthew 6:6 that you've been trying to lead me to every time I see it, because it's almost like it's scriptures that he's trying to throw at me in order for me to know and understand, like, this is what I need you to do in this moment. And y'all will understand once I read Matthew 6 and 6. So Matthew 6 and 6, the New Living Translation says, "But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father who sees everything will reward you." In other versions, it says, "He will see all you do and reward you openly." So this scripture just talks about like the importance of prayer and having private prayer and private time with God that nobody sees, like having that genuine relationship with God, like that you don't have to be trying to flaunt it all publicly, to show like, okay, this is what I do, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm saying, this is how me and God talk to each other. Like, no, God said, like, what you do in private with me, I know the things that you're coming to me to pray about, and I'm going to reward you openly. And what God is saying is that he doesn't want us to be like other people, who do things for show, who do things to boast of that, just to kind of show off like their relationship with God, or the fact that they have a heavenly language, or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's just so many people that try to, put on this facade. And God's like, that's hypocritical. They do things to arrange for everybody to notice them. And it's like people who want you to notice, like, whatever type of things they do for God, they want it to be known publicly. Like, oh, here I am, I'm giving to this place. Here I am, I'm giving to that place. Here I am, I'm giving to this person in need. Like, I have given to people in need that nobody even knows the stories outside of like my kids and whoever was surrounding me in that moment. Nobody knows those moments where I sat there and went grocery shopping for people who were on the street. When I sat there and talked to people who are homeless, when I sat there and gave to people who are homeless, like, nobody saw those things. And I didn't go blurt it to the rooftops and say, hey, I did this for so and so. That's even if you do something for just a stranger, just anything, or a family member, or whomever, or a friend. Like, you do not have to let it be known to the world the things that you are doing God sees the work of your hands. He sees your good deeds. So you don't have to try to showboat about it. He sees, like, even if you're on your platform, you don't have to go around saying, hey, I'm doing this and I need my recognition. I need my validation. No, you don't need all of that because God sees you. Yeah. So a lot of people do works, for world's approval, for, you know, a worldly accolades and things like that. And God is saying, like, no, if you're a true worshiper, you do things quietly, you do things strategically, you do things in private. You go in the room and shut the door. Okay? Shut the door behind you and do what you do in secret, when you pray, when you give, and when it comes to all of those things. And when you do those things, God sees it and he's going to reward you. So if you read further, I told you guys this word might be very short, but if you read further, no, if you actually read like above Matthew 6, like if you read the verses that come before that, it says, watch out, don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired by others, for you will lose the reward from your Father in heaven. See, so he says, when you do it privately and shut the door, I will reward you openly. But when you try to do it openly for attention and for all the wrong reasons, then you will lose your reward from the Father in heaven. When you give to someone in need, don't do what the hypocrites do, blowing your trumpets in the synagogues and the streets to call attention to your acts of charity. It says, I tell you the truth, they have received all the reward they will ever get. But when you give to someone in need, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Give your gifts in private, and your Father who sees everything will reward you. So again, God is saying, I see the works of your hands. I see what you're building. I see what you're doing. I see everything you're doing for my glory. I see you in your ministry. I see you in your purpose. I see you being obedient. I see you doing everything that you can. I see you taking that time out to pray. I see the people that you're praying for. I see the enemies that you have and you still pray for them. I see that you could be gloating and boasting about the wrath that is coming upon the people who have wronged you, but you still pray for these people. God says, I see it all. God says, I see your tears. I see everything. You don't have to go publicly shouting everything out and for everyone to know. God says, I see the works of your hands. I see how you keep turning the other cheek every time somebody slaps you in the face. And that's, not literally, but figuratively. And in some people's cases, it could be literal. I don't know. But God is just saying he's seeing all of the warfare that you're taking on. I just feel like I want to cry right now, but I'm not going to. But God is just saying, I see it. I see the works of your hands. I see you. I'm going to reward you for everything that you're doing. He's saying, I see how people are taking advantage of you. I see your frustration. I see how you're still pressing through no matter what. I see you. That's what God is saying. I see you. And he will reward you. He said, I see you suffering. I see you doing work without getting compensated. I see you doing everything for everybody else and you get nothing in return. God says, I see the selfishness in other people. God is saying, I see the selfishness in the people around you. But he's going to reward you because you're taking it and you're not saying anything and you're just moving forward and not saying anything and not letting your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Not even letting people know that you see the evil that they're doing towards you. God has said, I'm going to reward you. Y'all, I'm trying so hard not to break down and cry in this video. It's like, God, sometimes I can't stand, like, the Holy Spirit overtakes you. And then when you just think about the goodness of God and literally everything you've been through and You've just been plowing and plowing and plowing and going and going and going and going and going nonstop to the point where you like, God, do you see me? And this is the word today to show you that God sees the work of your hands. He sees what you're doing. It's not just about, like, the giving and the working part of it. It's just all the private stuff that you're going through, all the things that you come to him privately about, that you shut the door behind you and pray to him about. He sees it because you don't speak it publicly. You are going through internal pain and pain in private, and God sees it. He's going to reward the work of your hands. He sees the work of your hands. So that leads me to Psalms 91, where it says, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but that beginning part that says, if he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadows of the Almighty. And that is a place where you will feel rest and safety, the place where God will rescue you from every hidden trap and from every thing that the enemy sends your way, and everything that your enemies even have planned for you. The secret place is a complete place of surrender and trust, right? That's a place where you let everything out to God that nobody knows about. There's only things that you and God know. There's dreams that you had that only you and God know about. There's things that you know that are supposed to come to pass that only you and God know about until he decides, my God, to reward you publicly. So those dreams that you have, those things that God promised you, my Lord, that only between you and God knows, right? God says, I'm about to do it. It's time. It's about to happen for you. It's about to come to pass. I see the work of your hands. I'm about to reward you openly. When you go in a secret place, no one sees you, right? But you trust that God sees you. You trust that God knows and understands your heart, and he sees your heart posture, and you trust that God is going to act on your behalf for the things that you're coming to him about. You trust and you have faith. They say, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So you're going to God for the things that you cannot see, that you have not seen. And you're hoping that God will open up these things for you. Again, God sees the work of your hands, and he's about to reward you openly and publicly. What God is saying is, like, when you do things in secret, right? You're doing it because you know you need to do it. You have to do it, and you do it anyway, no matter if nobody sees you. You don't have to go and tell the world, like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and this is my relationship with God, and y'all need to know it and understand it. Like, no, God is saying, like, you're doing the right thing regardless. You're helping that person regardless of how they're treating you. You're praying to me regardless, like, whatever. You're being obedient regardless. If nobody sees that you're being obedient, that's just like you might be surrounded by people that nobody sees you trying. Nobody sees it. Nobody sees that you're trying to do the right thing, right? But God is saying, because of that, and you can still continue to still do the right thing anyway, he's going to reward you. And you got to understand that in those moments, you got to believe that if God sees it, he's going to move on your behalf. He's going to move on your behalf. He's going to reward you openly for the things that you're doing privately. God sees the work of your hands. So that leads me also to the number 606 in Strong's Concordance, which means to be laid away, to be laid up. It says, to be laid up in store. I have been put away. I'm stored. I'm reserved for. It says reserved for one, awaiting him, and to be appointed. So yes, so what God is saying is that your rewards are laid up in heaven, in the storehouse, waiting to be released for you publicly. All the promises of marriage, promises of a home, promises of finances, promises of just a good life, promises of freedom, promises of peace, everything is stored up for you, waiting to be released to you openly for everything that you have gone through privately. That's basically what that means. What God is saying, that now it says to be appointed. You are appointed for such a time as this. This is the appointed time that God is going to allow these things to be released to you. This is reserved for you, and it's reserved, and it's waiting for you, and it's reserved for you because you've waited on God, because you didn't get weary in the waiting. Well, you probably got a little weary, but you didn't faint. Okay. So God is saying he's about to reward the work of your hands. God sees the work of your hands. That's really pretty much it. It is a small, short word for today. But just know that God sees the work of your hands. Everything you're doing is not in vain. God's word that he speaks out his mouth cannot return to him void. So whatever it is that he has promised you, it is going to come to pass. Just keep holding on. There has to be a time and a season for everything. And things have been moving. You might be in a holding place. You might be in a pit stop. But you are about to get to where it is that you're about to be. You're about to take off. You're going from the pit to the palace. It's your time. 3, 2, 1, blast off is what I'm hearing in my spirit. Like, God is about to reward the work of your hands. God sees the work of your hands. It's about to happen for you. Amos 9, 13 through 15, the MSG version. It won't be long now. God's decree. Everything is going to happen for you so fast that your head will swim. So don't give up. Please understand that God sees the work of your hands. So guys, that's the end of this video. And everything will be in the description. The scriptures that I came from today, Matthew 6:6 and Psalm 91. Always to contact me via email, or whatever way. My other social medias, TikTok and Instagram, and there's ways to sow and donate into this word. If you want to pair and partner with this word and with this ministry, I know God will be pleased. I don't do these things for the money. I don't do these things for nobody to sow into me. I do these things because I love to do it, and I know this is my calling, and I know this is what God has called me to do, and I do it for the glory of God. So if you see the glory of God on me and with this ministry and what I'm doing, you feel led to sow, give a love donation, go right ahead. My Cash App and ways to sow will be there. And that's really it. I love you all. Remember, God sees the work of your hands.